Welcome to the Quick Stop F1 podcast. My name is Nyasha, and you could have been anywhere in the world, but you're here with us. We appreciate that. Joining me today is someone who I'm sure is smug as a bug in a rug. And he's supposed to be snug, but he's smug. He's even posting little tick lists of which of his teams is winning, and they all keep winning. And it's annoying. So I support none of those teams. But nevertheless, it's the one, the only head honcho, co-head honcho, along with Peter, Mclaren Fan TV, and also of Pit Stop Fracker fame, is the one, the only Mahad.
Thank you. I'm enjoying. Of years of suffering, I'm enjoying it. It took a while.
It took a while, but you got there. There.
Well, thank you for having me on, man.
Look, the pleasure's all mine. And look, before we get into that, you guys are home. If you are watching on YouTube, make sure to give us a like and a subscribe. We're only 50 subscribers away from 5,000, so help us to get to that total. If you're watching or listening, on Spotify, leave us a 5-star review. If you are listening on Apple, give us a rating. And there's always the Patreon for ad-free streaming. Mahad, you know that you man are good, innit? And you know that McLaren have had an incredible turnaround. But I guess before we get into it, just how good did this weekend feel, I guess, in terms of a domination standpoint? Because I think they said it was the second biggest gap, the biggest being Zandvoort, I think. Yeah. But I think if Lando was allowed to push more, I think he would have. I think he came out in a press conference afterwards and said he didn't even realize he was pushing that hard, although some of his antics may beg to differ, but we'll get into that. But I guess just in terms of from the moment go, it really looked like that car was not just ahead of the field, but light years ahead of the field. So I guess, how does that feel from your point of view?
I feel like I kind of expected it in the second half of the season, just because I remember being on this pod earlier this year.
You did say.
Look, McLaren are competing, they even put an upgrade on the car. And they're going toe-to-toe with everybody. So if they do put an upgrade on the car, they're going to be up the road. So the mistakes kind of get minimized when you got a car that's that fast, right? And then when they put the upgrade on in Zandvoort, we saw what happened, right? And when it gets to those type of tracks, those type of conventional tracks, we did have a bit of struggles with Monza and Baku in terms of dominance. We weren't able to be dominant. We had to just actually duke it out in those races with other teams, because it doesn't play to our strengths in terms of straight line speed. But in terms of just normal conventional racetracks, it's going to be a problem when we get to places like Kota, when we get to Interlagos, and like that. Because the problem, not the problem for me, the fantastic news about this car is that any track it goes to, the car's already set up. It's good. There are no balance issues. They're not trying to find anything else. You saw what Lando was doing from practice too. You already knew.
Yeah.
It was kind of writing on the wall from there. So then it was from that point, it was about execution, right? And from there, I was thinking, okay, Lando, Oscar, you guys have got the car now. So let's just see what you guys can do. Unfortunately, Oscar didn't qualify as well as Lando. I was expecting a front row lockout and an easy drive home.
Yeah.
To take some points off Max, but I can't complain.
You can't complain, really, can
Lando
you?
might as well have been uploading on TikTok while he was driving up there. He was long gone.
I mean, it looked like he was at points. There was a couple of excursions or near misses that he had, but I guess I'd almost say this is. You must hear the noise around Lando. I think Lando's in one of those positions where at one point, I think there was quite a fair amount of universal love for Lando. And then I think over the years, some of that has eroded for various reasons. I think part of that is him just growing up a little bit. I think some of that is past comments. I think some of that is just standard F1 hate. But of course, I guess there was quite a lot of talk after Baku, right? With, I guess, what happened with him in qualifying, him missing out on the opportunity to win. And then, at that point, his teammate goes and wins convincingly. And you get those debates around Oscar and Lando. But I guess for me this weekend, I don't know, I've always kind of said, I kind of question Lando's mentality, this, that, and the other. But I've always said, and I've maintained, I think I said last week, it is his title to lose. And I think you must feel the same, given what you're saying. Although there is there's a whole bottle thing, right? But I just feel like we're starting to move away from that era with Lando.
I'm completely of the different camp. And this is nothing to do with me being a McLaren fan or anything like that, yeah? I'm saying if you had the lead Max Verstappen had, and you go ahead to lose the title, I'm putting that on the mark of the biggest balls in F1 history. Putting it down.
Can I just, don't say anything else.
I'm sorry.
Finally, someone's saying the real shit around here. I can't even get my shit to work. There you go.
Everybody, I don't know if the media's twisted or everybody's put it the other way. Like the pressure's on Lando. Brother, he's got the lead.
Yeah. Like, look,
do you understand what I'm saying? In any other sport, the person that's got the lead, the pressure's on them to not fumble it.
Look.
But all of a sudden, in Formula One, it's the other way around, where it's like, he has to make up. Like, first of all, yeah, I'm a connoisseur of F1 history. To make up this points, even from the beginning, from when Max built up that lead, from back in Miami Imola times, these are unassailable leads that you're trying to gain on people, right?
Yeah.
This is not something that's normal in Formula One to do these type of turnarounds. To expect Lando Norris for the first year that he's got a race-winning car, yeah, he's gonna do it. Me personally, I don't believe there's a title fight.
Oh, you're still doing that?
No, I'm not doing that. I'm just.
You're doing that. You're still doing that. There's no title fight.
Me personally, I don't care who it is. If it ain't within one race win, there ain't a title fight.
Okay.
If it's not 30 points or under, it's not a title fight. This is just media gaslighting you lot. At the end of the day, because they want to sell the product of F1 to you guys. Yes, there's a title fight that's going on. Look at all these guys are winning, right? For me personally, the pressure is on Lando to deliver because he's in a fast car, right? So bare minimum, he needs to be winning races right now compared to everybody else when they've got the cars they're in, right? But the pressure is on Max to keep his lead.
Yeah.
You built this lead. Are we gonna tell everybody now? Look, it's the car, guys. It's the car. Clearly, he's not got a slow car. He's not an ass. Even though people were telling me he could win an ass.
Yeah, no. They were saying that. They were saying that
12 months ago, you were saying this. The streets were saying this. So now the car's a little bit. He's gonna drop an 80-point lead.
Look, you're preaching to the choir right now, okay? Because even if he does win the title, he's Jensen buttoned it, bruv. Because it's all well and good. And for those who don't get that statement, let's go to trip down memory lane. If LeBron James is a hip-hop historian, you got a couple F1 historians in the house right now. We're going to take you a trip down memory lane, 2009. Braun GP, come out the gate. Double diffusers. Oh my God, what is that? They've got a part on the car which everyone deemed illegal or thought was illegal, wasn't illegal. They had an incredible advantage over everyone. Him and Rubens Barrichello duking it out. Obviously, Jensen Button comes out on top because, look, his teammate is Rubens Barrichello. Let's be honest.
Yes.
Let's be honest. Go watch Braun on Disney Plus with Keanu Reeves, fresh black suit, he's John Wick in an F1 documentary.
Yeah.
Everyone long story made less long. The double diffuser part, despite going through court, is deemed to be legal. Next couple races, everyone's just slapping it on the car. Who slaps it on the car better? Adrian Newey at Red Bull. And Red Bull and Vettel start eating into these man's lead. And look, this is when, I think, is this still when it was like first to sixth was the points?
No, I think it was more. I think there was like a little mini in between.
Oh, is it?
I think. Let me just try to find out. I'm gonna
try that and find that out. But essentially, and obviously there was less races, but essentially for I want to say half the season, Brawn were in no position to win any races, and they were just basically hanging on to the lead. But it was a pretty big lead.
And Red Bull were fumbling races them times as well.
Bruv, Red Bull, like, you go back and watch it, like, these guys really should have won the title. Like, they really should have. But anyway, Jenson Button ends up winning his first title. It's all good. But it wasn't like he romped to the title. It wasn't as if
First eight, you're right. Huh? First eight.
First eight.
To 1 point.
Right. So, if Verstappen wins this title, I think there's going to be a section of people that are like, wow, against all odds, he fought off the mighty McLarens. I can't respect it. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm in the same camp. Either Verstappen wins his title and, you know, he makes it a lot more stressful than it needed to be, or it is one of the biggest fumbles in F1 history. Has there ever been a lead that's been taken down this big before? Surely not.
We've already witnessing one of the fumbles, because did you see the lead Red Bull had in the constructors?
Oh my God, Eddie, it was me.
Nobody's talking about this. This is the problem with it. This is the problem I have. I've been on this hill for ages. F1 media is making me sick right now. What are these narratives right now? Why are the narrative? If you, let's say, for example, in any other sport, let's say, for example, Manchester City, all of a sudden just fell off a cliff. No reason. Just absolutely no reason.
You're talking to an Arsenal fan.
No, look, but if they just fell off a cliff and they started losing 3-0 to Ipswich and just all these guys, like, what's going on? Everybody would be questioning, be like, what's going on here? But nobody is, that should be the number one headline every race.
Well, do you know why? Do you know why? Because people are scared of, I think people are scared to say the real reason why they've fallen off, bro. No one wants to say it. Everyone's like the fucking boogeyman. No one wants to talk about whether there was a brake bias thing. No one wants to talk about whether there was any technical directives which changed it. No one wants to talk about the fact that Christian Horner has absolutely decimated that team from the inside out, to the point where people are leaving. The driver wants to leave. The driver's dad doesn't want him to be there. He tried to force Helmut Marko out. He couldn't do it. You've got the engineers saying that Adrian Newey didn't do any work on the car. It's bless. And then now they're in charge of the car. The car's going backwards. But no one's saying any of this. It's like if they're the boogeyman, bro. It's like people are scared to just come out. And I think, you talk about F1 reporting. I think this has been an issue with F1 reporting. I think since the beginning of time. We've been saying it since we both started in this content game. Look at how they reported 2021, and look how they reported the cost cap. Look at how they report some of the civil rights issues that happen. Look how they report. People are almost, there's that, in football, there's that real investigative journalism. People go and they find and they write articles, and there's some real journalism. Everyone in F1, bar a few, they're just PR merchants, bro. They get an email into their inbox, they reword it a little bit, and then they spit it back out. The real opinion and the real, journalism, that's not there. Everything's based on narrative. And I guess an easier narrative, like I say, to sell is a resurgent McLaren. The sleeping giants awoken. They have a dominant car. They have a young British driver who has a chance of winning a world title. And this is the best chance of winning a world title that they've had since, 2012. So maybe that's what they go with. But the lack of accountability on Red Bull, I'll tell you now, I think it makes me a little bit sick, to be honest. Because every race weekend, you're kind of hoping that they'll mention, like, what's going on here? Like, this is mad. Although, Max Verstappen was second this race. So I guess.
Yeah, this is one of the good weekends.
Yeah.
For them.
Like, yeah. But he is going to do it, right?
Who?
Lando.
Me personally, I don't believe so. Look, this is coming from a McLaren fan because I don't buy what people are selling.
What are they selling?
I've been around the game too long. I don't buy what these people are selling. At the end of the day, I've got for me personally, I've got to see Red Bull fall off a serious cliff. When I mean serious cliff, I need to see whatever Perez's performance was in Singapore this weekend. I need to see Max doing that. If I see Max doing that, it's a given. But if Max is finishing P7, P8, just mathematically it's over.
Yeah.
Even if Norris doesn't win the race, if he finishes on the podium, he's yamming points on him.
Yeah.
And it's not 52 points. If you're not finishing in top 5, it's a big problem for Max.
It's a big problem. Like
it's a very, very, very big problem. If you're finishing P8, P7, P6, your lead is going.
Yeah.
Right?
No. Yeah.
But until I see that, and the problem for me, especially with Singapore, I knew, I don't want to sound overconfident, I knew we were going to win the race. Yeah. Right? I expected a Mercedes to take points off Max. I expected Ferrari to take points off. That's when it starts to get techie. When I start seeing that consistently as well, then I'll say, okay, Lando's got a chance here. Because at the end of the day, I said, when we spoke about the whole media was talking about it, everybody, content creators and so on, in Monza, when they were talking about, they need to be helping Lando win the championship.
Yeah.
They need to use Oscar, so on and so on. Oscar needs all this team order malarkey, right? I said personally, if he just performs how he performs in Zandvoort, if he performs how he performs in Singapore, he ain't got a problem with Oscar.
Yeah.
That don't need to be a conversation. Just down the road anyway. And if he consistently does that, and hopefully all the chips fall into place, but there's so much maneuvering parts. One DNF, you're finished.
Yeah. That is
little things and you're finished. Every week I'm praying, Max, please DNF, man.
Yeah.
Somebody licked this guy. Somebody hit him. I was like, Hamilton, do me a favor. From the start.
At the start, I bet you were thinking, like, I saw them two close together. I said, oh no, it's about to go down because them two. But you know what, Hamilton, I didn't even know. You know what? I think he just said, you know what, not today, Satan. I'm gonna fall into that. And I want to back out. But when I saw them two going side by side into turn 1, I said, oh, shit.
Exactly.
How my breath.
It needs to be those moments for Lando to win. He has to have some luck going his way, man. You can't have stuff like in Baku where you're just going out in Q1 because some random yellow flag. These are the stuff that, like, the racing gods are just against you.
Yeah.
Because he would have been in that battle with Leclerc and Oscar to at least get a podium out of that situation. But then you drop points again. And it's just, if you keep, he didn't really drop points because he still beat Max. But you need to start making the 8-point gains, the 7-point, the 12-point gains, the 15-point gains, where Max just, and that depends on Max's performance rather than yours. But if Max finishes 2, what's the point?
You're talking about cars coming in between, and it just reminded me of something. So Lando's on for what could have possibly been his first Grand Slam. And that was taken away from him by the Racing Bulls. And one, Daniel Ricciardo, who made his 4th pit stop.
It's stupid.
Like, ridiculous pit stop. From last place to do a fastest lap and take the fastest lap point from Lando Norris. He didn't actually get a fastest lap point, obviously, because he was in 10th. Not 10th, he was not in the top 10, he was last. Yeah. So, and there's rumors that, or there's, rumblings that, they did that. I think the team principal said, we did that because we wanted to, if it is his last race, we wanted to give him something to go out on a flourish. Although Christian Horner's on the radio saying your good friend Daniel Ricciardo has taken the fastest lap off of Lando. obviously the racing bulls are owned by Red Bull. You say the racing gods need to be with you. How do you feel about, look, as someone who in 2021 went through a title race with, you know, we were seeing Racing Bull, Alpha Tauri at the time, magically get out of the way for Max as he was coming through the field.
How do you know the RS?
Yeah, exactly. Oh no, I've just gone wide in the corner. Oh no. How do you see that situation? I guess we can talk about Ricciardo in a second, but how do you feel about? How do you see? I guess how do you, in general? I guess irrespective of, you know, that. But I guess, you know, Zach Brown's been very vocal about the two-team thing, and he's been very against it. And to be fair, he's been consistent about it since before you guys were title contenders.
2018, 2019.
Yeah, he's been on this issue the whole time. So I guess, do you share Zach's views on the need to not have that kind of strength in numbers that Red Bull have with Racing Bulls?
Okay, so the actual incident itself of them boxing Ricciardo for him to get fast lap, I don't have a problem with that because that's within the rules at this moment in time, right?
Yeah.
So I would expect my team to deploy that if we had a second team or whatever. I would expect that to be used, right? The whole premise of a team owning an organization owning two teams and within one sport, within the same league, that's just absurd. And I don't think it's a sports league in the world. Just because, and I don't even know how the bookies work this out. Like, you've got, like, imagine they're in a title battle together. How would the bookie set the odds? How would you? There's a conflict of interest. This is the whole reason why organizations don't own two teams. This is why, why the Abu Dhabi group don't own Manchester City and another team in the Premier League. You're not allowed to do this.
No,
you're not allowed to do this in any sport. You're not even allowed to do this in, I don't know, hockey. You're not allowed to do this in any sport. I don't understand why this is allowed. This is why Zach Brown is coming from an American background, from sports, baseball, whatever, and he's come to Formula One. It's like, why is this allowed?
It's insane. It's actually insane. I know people talk to Mercedes and engine and this, that, and the other. And look, it'll be funny because we'll see once Red Bull Powertrains gets up and running, if they start to supply other teams, how people start to feel about that argument then. But let's say, for example, you know, the Mercedes thing and them, you know, fucking supplying other teams. And, you know, how does that interfere? But they're still independent teams. McLaren are actually better than Mercedes right now. You know,
same engine, everything.
Mercedes are selling engines to a competitor who is dusting them up and down the grid. There's no conflict of interest. In fact, it's an embarrassment to Mercedes selling engines to someone and that person doing something with something that they're buying from you, doing better with that component than you can with the thing that you're building. It's embarrassing.
That's evidence of fairness, right? They're selling them a fair engine.
That's what I'm trying to say. Yeah, it's fair.
You know what I'm saying? Like, and you know, I'm not going to say that they haven't done that before, because I remember there was a season where, what was it? I forgot what the name was. Before Alpha Tauri, Toro Rosso beat Red Bull in the constructors. So they had a Ferrari engine.
Yeah.
And the other one had a Renault engine. I remember this. But the problem with this, is that you are basically got a 4-car entry and nobody else has a 4-car entry.
Yeah.
And it's you can organize those within tandem. You know, they didn't even, Horner probably didn't even need to make the call. It was probably implied.
Yeah.
Look, you can see that Lando has the fastest lap, remove that fastest lap. Because we can't do that. Because Oscar Piastri is directly behind Max in terms of his pit window. He can't box.
Yeah. And also, you're looking at, you know, politically, essentially doubling the amount of votes that you have so you're going from 20%, or even, you're going from what? Yeah, you're going from 10% of the voting, you know, votes that you have to 20% of the votes that they have, you know, in whenever they do things. Because AlphaTauri will never vote out of step with Red Bull, obviously.
the thing is as well, when it comes to independent voting within those scenarios, they will pretend like, oh, we have our own interest and so on. But you're owned by the same parent company. Therefore, the same parent company has the same interest.
Yeah.
I don't understand. Even in business, this is collusion. You can't do this.
Yeah,
I don't understand why this is allowed within sport. And then they're just basically going, oh, I'm blind. It's fine. The two separate teams. Look, one's in Italy. No. They literally, the other day, they've actually, I think just before the season, they started moving stuff from Red Bull, from Faenza to Milton Keynes.
Milton Keynes, yeah.
Some random Italians walking around Milton Keynes now because they're trying to close up the partnership. Obviously, this is a bit of a joke, and they're not letting other teams in as well.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Because Red Bull's got their own reason not to let a team in.
Yeah, it's insane. It's insane. Look, it's insane. I think it's insane, but we almost kind of put up with it because status quo, and you know, the Formula One that allowed this to happen when
their lives.
Yeah, they needed that, and almost like anyone could have. Me and you could have got a little team together and put a team in. Like honestly, like they were desperate for teams. I think if it was now, they wouldn't allow it. But again, these legacy and Concord agreements that they have now are so tight to the point now where the sport is in an incredible place, but they're not letting in other teams, even though they've got this going on. And it is actually absurd. And I think you're fine with it as it was. But when you see it play out in a sporting way, and I think that's where my thing is, right? Like, don't piss on my shoes and tell me it's raining. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, don't take me for a fucking muggins. Like, it's not. You're not giving Daniel Ricciardo. Look, if you wanted to give Daniel Ricciardo a nice send-off, let him race in Austin. Let him have his fucking second home race. Let him walk around like Woody from Toy Story. Do you know what I mean? And then that's fine. And then that's a nice send-off. Pitting a man from 18th to get a fastest lap is not a nice send-off. You ain't even told him he's sacked yet.
What? Before I speak about Daniel, because I've got some words with Daniel.
Yeah, I'm sure you do.
Before I speak on Daniel, what's stopping Red Bull from making Yuki Tsunoda and Liam Lawson just get fast lap every race from now on? So if they see Lando Norris with fast lap, just box Liam Lawson or Yuki Tsunoda, it's literally not against the rules. They could just keep doing it.
Of course.
So this is what I'm talking about having an unfair advantage over other teams because you're running a 4-car unit.
Yeah. You've got double the resources on track,
McLaren don't have 4 cars. If McLaren had 4 cars, they could be doing that stuff. They would have been taking the fastest lap points of Red Bull all the time. No, I back marker. But what's stopping them from doing that for the remainder of the season?
Nothing. And in fact,
everybody's talking about Daniel Ricciardo's talking about, that point might help Max win the championship. What if they carried on doing it? What if they go get 7 points by doing that?
No.
Or how many races left? 6 points.
Well, look, there's every chance that that's going to happen. In fact, if I'm a betting man now, I'm going bookies and saying a racing ball, whatever they're called, they are going to have either one of them. That team will have the fastest lap for the next 6 races. Like, if that's what it's going to take, like, they will fucking do it. And I just think, again, with the way that F1 reporting is going on, no one's calling the shit enough. Like, when Zach Brown does it, it's almost like they report it, but there's no pressure. There's no, demand for change. There's no real fight for, really highlighting why this is fucked more than just, it's a bit unfair. It's against the ethics of sport. It's insane.
Do you remember at the beginning of the season, Zach Brown brought up again, and then people were saying, but McLaren are not even in a title fight. This is when McLaren were good, before the upgrade.
Yeah.
Why are you concerned about it? Look what's happened right now.
And the thing is, that's a problem. You know, we see it in football with the referees, right? A referee will fuck up on a weekend. And if it doesn't affect your team, you'll just tell a man, shut up. Deal with that. Fuck that. Oh, we had to deal with that back then. Oh, you got to deal with that. And because everyone has that kind of crabs in a bucket mentality, until it affects them, they don't give a shit. But if you don't understand, it literally affects you every fucking race. In a big way or a small way or whatever. Like it affects the whole sport. And I just think the reason why it's coming out now is because, again, and maybe even more pertinently, or maybe even more blatantly this time, it's going to affect the title race. And I just think, what are we doing here, man? Like, are we here as a sport? Are we here as an entertainment? Are we here as you're supposed to have 10 franchises? God forbid we have another outside franchise come in, but one team can have 2 franchises, or one owner can have 2 franchises within a 10 franchise sport, therefore allocating 20% of the cars on the grid. It doesn't make sense.
And
Like,
they can't. The thing is, they don't have the clout or the balls to say, you know what, you got to force sell this team amount right now.
they don't. But they should.
You're literally telling them, go sell this team now. You're literally telling them, go get some money. Go get 2 billion. They're like, nah. They don't even have the balls to do that. So this is where we are. Like, look at that. Look, the little mini DRS wing that McLaren had lasted how long? Because guess who protested it?
Yeah, I know.
It was Red. If another team protested it, it might have not got banned. If it was the other way around.
When did Red Bull become? I mean, I said this in 21. When did Red Bull become Ferrari? Like, we're losing recipes right now. Because FIA used to stand for Ferrari International Assistance. And now it's just like Red Bull can do no wrong. They can do no harm. Any punishment is negligible. I just like, and you know, any protest they put in, seen to straight away. Anything that's on their car that's fucked, okay, we'll just sweep that under the rug.
They got spawn sauce. They got the Ross Brawn sauce. This is what Ross Brawn used to do.
Yeah.
I was there, 2003. Man just makes the bird call. Yeah, tiles, get rid of him. Now, mid-season, ban those tires. Like we have to have serious clout. And the person that's
but
got
where's that come from? Yeah, it's Horner.
It's really about leveraging and having power, having the kind of the team that should have that power and should be using it all the time. It's Ferrari, but they don't do it.
They don't. Well, because they're losing recipes as well. I think you look at Christian Horner's quite easily the longest running team principal on the grid, and he's used that longevity, and he's used that power, and he's used that almost as well, like the media profile that Red Bull bring to F1. And again, you know, the success that they've had, he really has kind of, he's Teflon, bruv. His own team won't sack him. The fucking federation will back him in anything that he wants to do. He's Teflon, bruv. And
he went toe-to-toe with Marco and the Austrians and won. With his nudes out on the streets. Man's plastered on the front of the newspapers. Calling him Mr. Halliwell. You get me? Moving crazy. And he's Teflon, survived.
I can't believe he survived that. I'm not gonna lie to you. Like I mean, I can now, but at the time I was like, it's a matter of time before this guy's gone.
Look, because in any other sport or organization, you're gone.
100%.
Even if you was like a construction firm, you're gone. You're the CEO of a construction firm. Like normal day-to-day life, you get sacked for that. Let alone a sports team. So, boy, I don't know what power he's got over. And I don't know what power he's got over Daniel Ricciardo, but he's played him like a fiddle.
I want to say something on Daniel Ricciardo. I want to say something real fucking clear right now, yeah. And I don't want my words to be minced. I don't want this. If I criticize Daniel Ricciardo, and if I talk about Daniel Ricciardo's situation, and I maybe mention Daniel Ricciardo's demeanor, let's say, instead of defending him, using stats, or instead of defending him using facts, you cannot just label anyone who criticizes Daniel Ricciardo as someone who's disregarding mental health because he's not smiling as much anymore. I'll tell you this right now. Thank God he's not smiling as much anymore. I wouldn't be smiling as much if I was doing what Daniel Ricciardo was doing in a Formula One car, and if I got played like a fiddle by Red Bull. And I'm sorry, he only has himself to blame. And you can be as soft as you want with this guy. I've never seen a grown adult infantilized as much as I've seen Daniel Ricciardo infantilized in a fucking high-level sport in my life. Whether he's not being dusted by Yuki, or whether he's beating Yuki, or whether it's equal between him and Yuki, there's no one on God's green earth, including Daniel Ricciardo himself, who can say, since he made that move to McLaren, that he has been even a top 12 or 13 driver on the grid. And I just think, in what world? I think Red Bull wanted to put him in. I think they gave that guy every opportunity to put him into that car. They were begging to put Checo out of that car. And maybe there's politics that goes on within that. Maybe there's like some kind of thing where, you know, Checo is Horner's guy. Ricciardo, I think, you know, obviously like Helmut Marko wants to put youth into the racing bulls. Maybe they want to put, you know, Ricciardo back in. I don't know. He's not done enough. He's not done enough. He's not done enough for fucking years. And I don't get the shock of what's happening right now. It's actually too late. I don't even know why they renewed him. Anyway, those are my thoughts. As someone who had to deal with my man in the McLaren and looking at him now, I saw a tweet from you. It was like, I'm trying to imagine Daniel Ricciardo in this car now. What does that look like?
It might look like Max Verstappen and Perez right now.
Of course it does.
Because look. The head. Let me just make this clear. Yeah, the first thing we need to talk about when we talk about Daniel Ricciardo is, yeah, and it's a sad case, but it happens. Yeah, leave F1 before it leaves you.
Oh, I was going to say that later.
Leave F1 before it leaves you. The juice was gone, man.
The juice was gone long time.
Listen, I don't think people understand the context of why he was signed at McLaren. Carlos Sainz left for Ferrari. Yeah? We needed a number one driver. He said, let's improve on Carlos Sainz. Let's get somebody that's going to be that guy. Yeah? Yep. We'll sign up on form Daniel Ricciardo to be the number one driver. This is coming out of Zach Brown's mouth. He was the number one driver. He didn't even need to prove it. He came in on a number one contract, right? Yeah. He came into McLaren, yeah? He did the first race. He said, he looked all right. First quali session, whatever. Then in the race, I was getting worried. I was like, what's going on? It's like when you buy a new car and then you just take it down the road and you're like, what's that light that just popped up? I was like, bro, I just bought this for like 20 grand. Why is lights going off? Yeah?
Engine lights going crazy on me right now.
Then the season's going on. I'm seeing Imola. This is quite really early in the season, 2021. I'm seeing Imola. I'm seeing the guys ahead of Norris on the track. He's going so slow that I have to say, move out the way from Norris.
Yeah.
Right? And everybody's I remember this on Twitter. Everybody was like, why is he doing team orders? Let Ricciardo stay in front, whatever. Lando Norris immediately put 8 seconds on his head. Put 8 seconds on his head. Yeah? I said, what's going on here? Because this is supposed to be the number one driver, right? Then I see Monaco, he's getting lapped. While your boy's on the podium, your teammate's on the podium. Then I'm thinking, this is looking higgy. And me personally, I'm a McLaren fan first. Yeah, I just look at the points on the board. Who's actually performing and doing what they need to do, right? Yeah. And
Yeah.
I'm thankful for that Monza moment. He brought us a Monza moment. Yeah.
Yeah.
He brought us our first win in a very, 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 very long time.
I mean, even that one, even that one, I'm not gonna lie to you. Even that one,
they told Norris, you're not allowed.
Yeah, like
You're basically not allowed.
You're not allowed. And I think if it was Norris now,
he would have ignored it.
He would have just done him. I think he would have just done him. Like, but the man was so hungry for that win. You were starving for that win. Team orders are for half a race is crazy, but you guys had to do it. Had to do it.
Had to do it. He was nowhere since. Everybody talks about, oh yeah, Lando, Sochi, bottled it. Where was Ricciardo? Where was he in that qualifying session? Where was he in the race? Nowhere to be seen. Like I was watching every race and I said, why we got one driver?
Yeah.
So all the Red Bull fans out there now, that's what you're feeling. You're feeling like, Max is on his ones. What's Perez doing to me? That was me in 21, right? Then we got to 22 and I was like, okay, maybe he just needs a fresh start, new cars, so on and so on, right? Get to 22, yeah? The guy gets beat down. When I mean gets beat down, people, do you know what the quality head-to-head was?
Tell me.
20-2.
This is what I'm saying.
And one of them, Lando had an engine problem in Canada, and the other one, Lando was literally dying in Spain. He literally was ill. He was dying, and he still finished ahead of him.
Yeah, brother.
So that's a 22-0, possibly.
When I went on the last lap show, and that was the first last lap show ever, I think. And it was Belgium. So what we're talking about, first race after the summer break. This is when Belgium was after the summer break. Was it before? It might have been after. I think it was after.
It's after the summer break.
It was after the summer break. And they were saying the same shit. Like, maybe it's just the car, he's adapting to the car, this and the other. And I'm like, I'm sorry, anyone else, we're calling a spade a spade. He's finished. And I've seen, like, oh my God, like, don't leave the F1 before the F1 leaves you. The F1 had left him a long time. Like Max Verstappen, like Jos Verstappen left Max Verstappen at that petrol station and said, walk your ass home. Daniel Ricciardo's out in the rain. Like Usher, trapping in the rain. I genuinely, the level of performance from Daniel Ricciardo and McLaren was embarrassing, especially in a team, in a car that was, on occasion, able to get paid. Valtteri Bottas got hounded out of Mercedes for much less than what Ricciardo was doing. Albon, Gasly got hounded out of Red Bull for much less. I'm not understanding. And they're like, Zach Brown ruined his life. Zach Brown saved this guy's life, bro.
Zach Brown hired this. If I hired somebody on the premise that they can renovate my house nicely, and I start seeing holes in the walls after day 2, and then I sack you, what's the problem here, man? You are hired to do a job. They are paying him millions and millions. I think he was getting like 20 mil. He was getting
20 mil.
15 to 20 million. He was getting that much. He was getting franchise money, right? Yeah. He got hired at the beginning of 2021. Yeah. They first made contact with Oscar Piastri and tried to offer him a contract in Monaco 2022. Yeah. So that means Zach Brown had enough within 18 months. Right. He said, I need to get off this contract. He said, I need to get off this contract now. Even if I have to pay this guy to leave. He got paid 15 million to leave.
That's incredible.
So if you're a Ricciardo fan, yeah, you have to understand, yeah, that is the McLaren stint. That's all you needed to see. You can say he got treated badly, whatever. This is a performance business, bro. At the end of the day, in 2022, Lando Norris got 122 points. Daniel Ricciardo got 37 points. Yeah? We lost a constructor's spot. We lost to Alpine in the constructors because of this guy. We literally lost to Alpine in the constructors because of this guy. That cost you money in constructors anyway. So you might as well cut the loss and get rid of the guy.
This is when Newman was skint as well.
Exactly. So this is what I'm not really comprehending. Yeah, the guy is costing your team. So at the end of the day, to paint the picture of Zach Brown's a villain, look, he stole Oscar Piastri. He made Daniel Ricciardo crap, whatever. He came into the job and he didn't do his job properly, right? So then there was a premise of, oh, he could come back in 2023, bring it back to Red Bull. He's the third driver, and then Horner's doing all these press releases. Oh, he's skinny. What kind of treated Joe McLaren?
Well, he treated like a stray dog, you know.
He's like, oh, look after you. Look after you. Like he was getting abused. And I'm not one of I'm one of those people. Yeah, I care about men's mental health. I'm all about that at the end of the day.
100%.
But if you're employed to do a job and you do not do your job, and you get fired, nobody should be surprised. Nobody should be surprised, right? No, absolutely nobody should be surprised about it. If I pay an Uber, take me to the airport, and he takes me to the docks, what are you doing, bro? I'm not giving you your money.
Bro, and he got his money. That's the thing. It's not like they sacked him and then he had to go to court to get his money and he had to go through. They gave him a compensation package in line with his contract. Leave, go, get your mental health back, and actually be in a position to sign with another team, which he did.
So he's in as a third driver now. He's at Red Bull. They put him into Nick De Vries, disaster. Helmut Marko, I don't know what eye was working, but you didn't see it. You didn't see it. So they had to sack him mid-season. That means he's lost leverage of putting drivers in that seat because you put Nick De Vries in that seat. You wasted time. You could have put an actual RB driver in there, but you wasted time by putting Nick De Vries in, and now you've lost leverage. So then Horner's applying pressure to you. This is all politics between Horner and Marko.
Yeah, so that's what it is.
And he's like, I'm going to put Ricciardo in the seat because I want to give him a second chance. Horner, in his mind, is like, I can get him, put him in the main seat. This is the reason I want to give him that opportunity. Remember on Drive to Survive, he did the lap at Silverstone. Oh, he would have qualified on the front row. Yeah. All right, whatever. So they put him in the car, right? He's going against Yuki Tsunoda. Don't know about that. Dunzo, his wrist is Dunzo. Lawson's looking lively in that car. He's looking more alive than he is. Yeah. Then I hear they give him a contract for 2024.
Yeah.
And I'm like, but did you not see Lawson? I don't understand. Yeah. I know that wasn't a Helmut Marko call. That had to be a Horner just applying pressure. There's absolutely no way based on the that you need to sign this guy for 2024. Yeah. So now you've dragged this out. Yeah. And then for Ricciardo himself, he must know when he got signed to AlphaTauri at 2024 that I'm not getting this Red Bull seat. Because if you was really that guy and you cooked, you would have been in that Red Bull seat at the beginning of 2024, right? Because they would have been like, you're that guy. But that didn't happen. So then they've got this whole palaver of a year where at the beginning of the season, he's getting absolutely smoked by Yuki. It's absolutely embarrassing, right? And this is supposed to be one of the great drivers. People are telling me, people that are McLaren haters, oh, he's better than Lando. He's better than these guys. And I'm like, I've got evidence. Oh, he beat Max. I'm like, you beat Max. He was a teenager, bro. He didn't even have the hair. He did. Look, there was a youth.
He wasn't even old enough for Kenny them times, bro. Like, and what's going on here?
And the worst thing is Norris was a youth as well when you got there as well. So those two children destroyed your career, right? Yeah. Now you're here. You're at the place where you're at. For him, for me personally, he needed to have that self-respect to say, I'm walking away from this. Let me retire. If you know that you're not going to be in that Red Bull scene, you're not going to get chances to win, and you're going to be at this junior team, and you're just blocking up a spot, you just got to retire, man. I think he got wind that he was going to get sacked, yeah? So at Singapore, so he kind of knew, okay, let me just end this myself, right? So he got that, yeah? But let me tell you the worst thing. This is the saddest way to go out. Yeah. You went out with a fastest lap for against one of your people that battered you. Yeah. For one of the people that battered you. Two people that are responsible why you're not in F1. And you're like, yeah, I hope Max wins the champion. What are you talking about?
Mate, you ran away from a boy because you were scared to go up against the machine in Red Bull. I could see it was becoming Max's team. Make it your team, bro. Like,
And when you went to McLaren, it was your team, and you lost it.
I just honestly, I've never seen. I'm like, I cannot. Again, this is a big man who made big decisions. He thought he was going to be Lewis Hamilton going to Mercedes, going to Renault, when there was no evidence that Renault would ever be a constructor that ever had an idea what they're doing. But you go there and you do well. McLaren come calling, they shove £20 million in your face. You know what? Looking at where McLaren are now, fair play, good decision. The fact that you were getting beaten up and down by Lando Norris. This is Twitch Lando Norris, by the way. This isn't Lando Norris now. This is when Lando Norris was still running around drinking
Lando
milk
Norris
every
is a
day.
way better driver now than he was back then.
Bro, this is what I'm trying to say. This is milk Lando Norris. Like, this ain't fucking, do you know what I mean? Like, I can't, for me, yeah, nothing, like, look at the caliber of driving he's done. He should have left a long time ago. And I think, again, Horner was trying to keep him around in case he could get rid of Checo. He couldn't get rid of Checo. And he wanted to bring him in. But even Horner couldn't justify bringing him in based on what he's done this season. And what he's done this season is nowhere near enough to say that the performance differential. I'm seeing people say, well, Red Bull, look at Checo. Checo's doing just as bad as Gasly and Albon. So why wouldn't they put Ricciardo in? Ricciardo, I genuinely think he might do worse. I'm not even going to lie to you.
Do you know what it is? Do you know what it is? There's always this weird fallacy that happens in Formula One, especially with pundits and everybody like that. We've seen him in a fast race-winning car before. He can do it again. So they assume that's the same person, right? They say, but he's done it before, he can do it now, right? But me personally, I've always held the view. Look, Checo, he's had stinkers, yeah? Absolute stinkers. But he's going against Max Verstappen. Max Verstappen is serious. He's an alien. So the Max Verstappen he was racing back then to now, Max is going to put him in a real spliff.
Bro.
So I don't know why. People have got this thing about Prime Ricciardo.
That was 6 years ago.
He went against Vettel. He beat Vettel. He was cooking, whatever. Even though he lost to a certain somebody, but everybody forgets. You lost to a certain somebody. Don't think we don't know. Don't think we don't remember that season, right? Then you go against Max as a teenager, looking all right. You're holding your own, whatever. Then he chased you out the door. Yeah. Listen, one thing I'll tell you about Red Bull, yeah, is if somebody came in like a new wonder kid that was better than Max, guess what? They're pivoting from Max.
No, straight away.
So your performances dictate if the pit walls and the guys in the background are going to pivot towards you or pivot towards Max. I think personally, I think it was the sad way to go out. I think retirement was best. I think even taking up the 2024 seat, he should have known from then that it was over. He's had some good highlights in his career. I think a lot of drivers are going to surpass him in this generation in terms of how they're going to be looked at.
What was it? 8 race wins, yeah?
8 race wins, 3 poles. You've already got Lando Norris already got more poles than you. He's like 24. Like, he's definitely going to get more race wins. With Leclerc's one race away from overtaking you. Like, it's the legacy of it. People are going to look back on it as, Prime Ricciardo. But people are talking about Prime Ricciardo like he had an injury. He didn't have an injury.
He just fell off.
There wasn't a reason for the fall off, rather than just him not gelling and with any other car than a Red Bull.
Yeah,
apart from that period at Renault, I don't know what happened. Sometimes you just decline.
Yeah,
people just need to accept that it's not going to come back. The juice ain't coming back, right? Yeah, no. The time is done. He said in the interview, he was doing the interview like he was telling a kid that his dog died. Do you see his face? He didn't make it. The dog didn't make it, mate. He was proper so sad. And I hear it because he's had a career at Formula One and stuff like that. But the time has come, man.
Look, the time has come. And look, what I will say is another reason why I don't feel sorry for him, and one of the things I fucking admire about Daniel Ricciardo, he has maximized his post-career earning potential. Like, an incredible amount. Like, if he really locks in with this America thing that he's got going on, obviously he's a big star in Australia. Obviously, I think he would walk into a punditry job like anyone would want Daniel Ricciardo as a pundit. How insightful that insight would be, that is another question. I think they tried to do the comedy thing where they did a live show, that comedian. Yeah. That was awful. But if someone produces something correctly, I mean, I'm pretty sure he's doing like a written comedy series, actually. He's doing like a written...
Yeah, I think he's like... I think, is it about driving or something like that?
Yeah. So, he's going in... He's basically, respectfully, like, just kind of copying Lewis's homework. He's like, he's got his merch out. He's got a production company. He's got the drink. He's in America trying to do things.
He's made his face. He's like one of the faces of Formula One.
Right, yeah, exactly. And I respect that, and I actually respect that more than everything he's done on track since 2022. But it's time to go, bruv. I'm saying the same thing about Kevin Magnussen. I'm saying the same thing about Lance Stroll. I'm saying the same thing. I was saying the same thing about Logan Sargent. Some of these, man, it's time to go. Look at Franco, bruv. Let's get some of these new guys in.
Are just coming in and they're performing from the jump. So what excuse do I have for you?
Bro, thank you.
This is the problem. For me, I'm not really into the whole personalities of the driver type of thing. I don't care. Yeah, because first and foremost for me is your performance, right?
Driver first, personality second. Like, do you know what I mean? We're sport
what's the point
at the end of the day.
Formula One if you're not doing Formula One? You're not Formula One in, right? You need to be Formula One in before people say, "Oh, he's such a nice person. Oh, did you see what he did? Oh, whatever." I'm not. Can you do your job first and perform?
Yeah,
because you're supposed to be the top 20 drivers in the world. There's a hell of a man waiting.
Yeah.
If the performance ain't there, the performance ain't there, right? So I'm going to judge you first and foremost as the Formula One driver. And people may think, this is insensitive. As a fan, this is what I'm going to judge you on first, right? If it doesn't mesh, if it's not working out anymore, you got to go. It's like if you're a sports star and your hamstrings going, you're injured, it's done, man. Just retire.
Bruv, respectfully, the same people that have a go at Lewis Hamilton fans, they say, you guys aren't even interested in sport. All you guys care about is the off-the-track stuff. Lewis Hamilton is still, despite what you might look at as peaks and troughs, Lewis Hamilton has 2 race wins this year. Lewis Hamilton, I believe, is still pretty close to his teammate in the standings. You can look at the quality head-to-head, whatever. But Lewis Hamilton is still a Formula One driver. Like, I'm not putting what Lewis Hamilton's doing over, like, actual performance in the car. We cannot keep putting people's... Look at Haas right now, yeah? Look at how much they're thriving without Günther Steiner there. Flourishing. But they were keeping a man, and a man literally kept a job based on this whole personality, or people liked him based on this whole personality he had. That team was fucking awful. He was not good at his job at all. And that's being shown by someone with their first team principal job just being a fucking engineer and knowing what the fuck to do with that car. Lewis is still 20 points ahead of George Russell in the standing.
And this is 19. Lewis saying this is the worst qualifying year. He's still critical of himself that he needs to sort things out. Yeah. But he's still adequately a Formula One driver. Not even adequately, he's still a superb Formula One driver. Same with Fernando Alonso. Fernando Alonso just not washed. He's still performing. If he was in a better car, you'd still see what he's doing, right?
Yeah.
It's when you're not there. I think people like Fernando Alonso and Lewis Hamilton, if all of a sudden they just were washed, they were retired. They were the first guys to retire. They're 100%. Not like that. They're not sitting in 18th doing fastest lap for next man.
Bruv, do you think they're going to go to a kiddies team just to stay about? Like, that's insane. I'm sorry. That's insane. Speaking of Lewis, quickly, before we get to this, actually, you know what?
Mercedes, man, they're so funny. That was my focus of the race, you know. I was just watching you guys. I was just like, what's going on?
Well, you know what? Yeah, I'm not even gonna lie to you. I went to a wedding the other day. As you can see by my teeth, I'm doing my best ODB impression right now. I'm gonna chip my tooth. I got into a fight with a glass, went to have a drink, hit my tooth, and chipped it. So over the weekend, I've been like dipping in and out of the F1. Sunday, I sat down, watched watched all the sessions, and then watched the race. And as they were lining up to go onto the grid, all I was thinking was like, you know what? Pace looks okay. You know, if we just have like a solid start, let's see what we can do on like an overlap strategy. You know, let's see how long we can stay out. Maybe wait for a safety car. Let's see what can happen there. The moment them tire blankets came off and they were soft tires, I said, oh my God. I was like, this team are actually nuts. But then I was like, you know what? Fine, I get it. They're trying to get that grid position. You know when I realized that this team is fucking stupid as fuck, bro? You know when they do that tire graphic where they're like how many laps the tire has had? And it's towards the end of Lewis's stint. And I was like, wait, Lewis's tires are 2 laps older than everyone else's. So they sent this guy out on scrub soft tires. Scrub soft tires. Trying to... I don't get this team. And you know what, yeah? Every week I come in here and I'm like, guys, I don't think that they're sabotaging my man. I don't think that these decisions are on purpose. And I still don't think that. But oh my God, please, like some competence in this team around the strategy would be great from time to time, because I cannot believe that these guys thought that putting a man on scrub soft tires and then even within that soft tire stint, pitting him so fucking early that he'd have to do 3/4 of the race on one set of tires when certain men were going into the race. There was a 20-lap delta to half of the cars that were passing him in the end. His own teammate overcut him.
What did Hamilton say on the radio? I don't know why I do this sometimes.
I don't even know why. I
said, what?
I don't even know why I do this sometimes.
Do you know what? Do you know why I say that as well? He's in Singapore. It's heat. The worst thing is about the Mercedes, yeah, it's an air fryer. That car's hotter than everybody else. These man say, yeah, but it's hot. Yeah? You seeing these man stumble out. Them man, they would do interviews because they had to go get a drip. Them man were cooked because that car is an air fryer. Yeah? And he's like, why have I just spent my evening doing this?
You know, like when you know when you don't even want to go out and your boy's like, all right, come to this party. I've got a mad party, bro. It's going to be bare girls, bare drink, bare food, bare everything. You're going to have to, all right, cool. Are you sure? I'm not really, yeah, no, come true. It's going to be sick. You get there. It's like 2 white people there playing Scrabble. And like, now this is what I call music on the CD player. And you just look at your bitch and like, why have you dragged me out? But now you got to stay. You're out of ends. Can't go home.
You got to sit there, listen to my talk. You know what I mean? You're going to sit there, vibes it. And then you're just like, let me look at my phone. I'm just like, he's like, let me get out of it.
I've got to go.
That's how much time was wasted for Lewis Hamilton that week. The thing is, I understand going for it, right? I understand.
There's going for it, and then there's
I understand going for it, yeah. How are you going to get Max Verstappen off the line if you don't have fresh softs? Where's the grip?
Fresh softs, yeah.
Off the line. Where's the grip off the line to get him?
If you don't have fresh softs, yeah. Not scrub softs.
And even then, this is the thing is, I don't know. Obviously, Lewis Hamilton's a big man, yeah? He must have been debriefed.
He was there.
He knows that we're starting us off. He was in the debrief, not debrief, pre-meeting at the beginning of the day, saying, okay, this is what we're going to do. How about softs? And he's agreed to softs, right? Yeah? But what were they cooking? Did they think they were faster than Max Verstappen?
They did. I think they came out in... I think Chauvelin came out. I think I have this quote here. Give me a second because... God, it was what is that Hamilton fan page? Hamilton Insights. Pick up Hamilton Insights. I love their graphics. Also, what I like about this page is that they've started putting subtitles on the videos. Guys, put the subtitles on the videos, please. Anyway, Andrew Chauvelin. Having qualified within a couple of tenths of Norris and Verstappen, we anticipated being able to race for the podium. That shaped our decision to start on the soft compound with Lewis as we looked to make up the ground on the opening lap. Unfortunately, with our lack of pace and struggles to control the rear tyre temperatures, that proved to be the incorrect decision and left him in for a tough race.
Mr. Chauvelin, can I ask you a question? If you felt like you had the pace... If you had the pace to fight them, wouldn't you just be on the same tyres?
Sorry.
Why did you need the advantage of the soft? If you could go toe-to-toe with them. If you felt like you saw the long one, just go on the same tyres with them and see what happens. And then if it doesn't work, then just consolidate the position.
Do you know what they thought? Singapore, and I know, last year it was a bit processional, but they'd added a DRS thing. The circuit was different. Also, obviously, I can't remember. Obviously, last year I know that people were parked behind someone. I think, did Sainz not have older tires than the two Mercedes who'd pitted, and so they were trying to hunt him down and they couldn't overtake him? Yes, I get it. You thought, but. The track is different. There's more DRS. And you're shit. Guys, every time these guys do something good, they base their whole shit around it instead of just looking at the data. These man couldn't correlate. Oh, God.
The objective should have been, we're getting a podium here.
Bro,
so you need to protect. One of you, man, are getting a podium. You got to protect this.
Consolidate third.
They couldn't do that. Piastri walked past them. And the reason why he got past Hamilton is because you pitted him so early and he had dead tires.
Bro, you should be looking, okay, on race pace, what was going on in practice, that car in first place is going to zoom off. Pardon me. The car in front, maybe we can see what's happened. But let's just hang in and see. Having track position, yeah. And then even when we had track position, then they bring him in 20,000 laps earlier than they needed to.
And why did they have to do that? Because they started him on softs. What's the point? I don't know the whole strategy. The first thing I was like, what's Mercedes' plan? Because all I was seeing is a gap. So what I saw was a gap growing to Max. And I was like, Max ain't even that fast because he's got Lando building a bigger gap in front of him.
Yeah.
Past the rate. So he's not even that fast. But I'm seeing this gap and I'm thinking, maybe the softs are dead, whatever. Maybe you guys need to swap positions or maybe whatever. If you could have just swapped positions to see what George can do, see if he can catch up with Verstappen, but you boxed Hamilton instead. Where you could have just kept him out behind George and just see what happens, right? I thought, okay, now they've boxed Hamilton. Okay, maybe this is George's opportunity to catch Verstappen. The brother made no inroads. Rather than that, he had Oscar right in his neck. He made no inroads on Verstappen. So that's how you know they didn't have no pace.
They had zero pace.
And you should have been racing the guy behind you. You should have been focusing, okay, how do we outwit Mclaren and deal with Piastri? So we could ensure that one of our drivers ends up on the podium. And people will say, they're favouring George Russell, they're over Lewis Hamilton in this scenario, whatever. These guys don't rate George like that. Look at the context of what's going on. They're talking about, oh yeah, Antonelli's the one. We want Max. Where's George in this equation?
Bro.
They don't rate him either. So why would they favour him? What are you on about? They literally don't rate him. He's got a contract to the end of next year. They don't even want to. They have not even no talk of an extension. No talk. We had a contract with Piastri. We signed him immediately within his rookie year. We said no. We need to extend that contract. Toto has no. And then I'm hearing they're going to do a little shootout. I don't know what's going on. I don't even think that's real. But at the end of the day, the fact that George Russell does not have an extension of his contract from the end of next year, that is a sign that they don't rate him like that. So why would they favour George over Lewis? George is on a prove-it deal next year.
And look, I guess why they would... Again, I know there's people who... I don't know how to explain it. I think I said this last week, so I don't really want to say it every week.
Yeah, okay.
But I don't think there's a deep-seated, I guess, conspiracy. I guess, if anything, they gave, in their mind, they gave Lewis what they thought was the best chance of victory, and it's turned out fucking shit. And then they've managed it poorly within. George was always going to overcut Lewis. As soon as that pace was happening, it was a matter of time before George was overcutting Lewis. Because they fucked it from the start. I think with Mercedes, those 2 wins feel like, 3 out of 4 wins feel like a fucking age ago now. And I think there's a real deep mistrust with the team which has always been there. And every time these guys fuck up, I think people see it as further evidence of this mistrust that they have, which is fair. I see it as further evidence of just absolute incompetence, bro. Like an incredible amount of incompetence, an incredible misunderstanding still. What year are we in? 22, 23, 24. 3rd year of these regulations. Still don't understand these regulations. I listened to a James Allison podcast. Yeah.
And he said, we understand these cars now. And they were like, oh, how could we have been so stupid? I said, let me sit on this. Let me wait.
I listened to that podcast.
I was like, why argue with Mercedes people and James Allison when you can just wait? These men will tell you, no other team have actually gone out and said, we understand now. Oh, we understand this now. We've got these popping, we've got these upgrades, whatever. Man were telling me, oh, yeah, Mercedes are going to catch McLaren. What are you talking about?
Mate.
Even back then, I was completely comfortable. Even when you guys are winning races, I was like, I'm comfortable. Because I need to see if your upgrade slap. You can't, James Allison can come out here and say, yeah, we understand the cars now, but you need to be making progress, right?
Yeah.
Once you slap that Spa floor on, and then you took it off. So you brought a new floor to Spa, and you took it off after practice. I said, something's going on. It stinks. I know you won the race in that, but it stinks. Something's going on. You're using the old floor. What's going on? You've used bare development time for a floor that don't work.
Yeah, and that's like a flaw. Like the fundamental piece of the car based on the regulations.
What did you understand? Tell me what you're...
They don't understand shit. They never understand shit. It's always we understand. We get it. We're going to do this now. We're going to do that now. They don't understand anything. The correlation's bad to the wind tunnel. Honestly.
Well, the numbers ain't working. I didn't update Excel. I don't know what's going on. At the end of the day, the only people that understand these regulations right now that's proven is Adrian Newey.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the McLaren team.
Yeah.
The McLaren team went back to the drawing board in 2022 and said, we're going to do this from scratch and we're going to do it slowly so we understand. This is why McLaren upgrades take ages, because they take time.
Yeah.
I'm seeing Mercedes slapping the upgrade every race. Bah, bah, bah. I was like, okay, what's going on here? I'm seeing Aston Martin, they've got like 30 odd upgrades on that.
Yeah, I mean, they're always lost. The quickest Aston Martin will ever be is the beginning of the season, and then you just watch them go backwards, and it's just like...
And now they got Newey, so Mercedes ain't got Newey.
Yeah, no, exactly. Quickly, I guess, do you think how do you think Hamilton would? No, how do you think Ferrari next year? I guess we've spoken about, McLaren, we've spoken about Mercedes. Ferrari next year. Where do you see them in the kind of? Where do they shake out? I guess.
I think Ferrari. Listen, even though I hate Ferrari and stuff like that, I think they've got a level of competence where they're always competitive.
Yeah.
In terms of like they're gonna leave a season with race wins. They're gonna leave it balls. They're gonna build a quick car. Yeah, it might be peaky here and there where there's gonna have some disaster weekends, just like how Singapore was a bit of a disaster weekend for them in qualifying.
Yeah.
You're gonna have those moments, right? But I think they're more of a solid team right now than what Mercedes are looking like.
Yeah, definitely.
If we just to assess it, even the points on the board, you can just see at the beginning of the season, Ferrari were on it. They were the second best team. And the thing with Hamilton going to Ferrari is I think he needs to. Ferrari and McLaren, they have a different culture compared to other teams in the sense of for them it's team first.
Yeah.
And when I mean for them it's team first is they will never ever drop their team in it. They will never blame themselves and say, "Oh, it's the team," right? They will rather stick it on the drivers than on the team. Right, and they're never ever, and the team principals and everybody like Professor's never gonna say the car shit, or whatever, because it's a political game. You cannot say that kind of stuff, right? And the same with McLaren, they're not gonna ever blame themselves on certain things. They're just it's the team first, right? And they treat the drivers as your employees, the same as the person that's building the car, same as the cleaner, you're a McLaren employee, right? And that culture is different to how it is in other teams, in like Red Bull, Mercedes, and so on and so on, right? I've seen Mercedes. Mercedes don't put their hands up. Yeah, we effed up. You just said it right now. We effed up, right? That's not going to happen at Mercedes, Ferrari. And I think that's going to be, if they do F up, that's going to be a new thing for Lewis Hamilton fans. Because guess what? They're going to say, oh, it was Leclerc and Hamilton. They're never going to say it again. Culturally, what people say culturally, like, oh, it's Italy, the language, whatever. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the culture of the team.
The sporting philosophy of the team.
They're going to say Ferrari first, right? So if they do F up Hamilton and F up Leclerc, this is what Leclerc fans are suffering with now. Because them man will just say, oh, Leclerc F'd up. Even this weekend in quali, they said, yo, it's them man. Sainz and Leclerc. Even though they messed up the tire blankets for a while, they're not going to say it. So I think he'll do well. I think he'll have better highs. I think he'll have a more stable car in terms of maybe coming out the gates, the car's good and so on. But it's just those little things. I think there's going to be you guys are going to be beefing with actual Ferrari stuff.
Yeah, and fans as well. Can't wait. Quickly, who's your star of the day?
Star of the day. I'm not going to say Lando because Lando is just, come on, man. He's done that. He's done that example, man. He'll do it again. So we'll see what that's about. I'm going to say star of the day is Colapinto. What a guy. You didn't know he was that guy, you know?
I didn't know he was that guy.
Had your teammate breathing heavy, saying dive bombs. Look, had signs saying, what's he dive bomb? And I looked at the replay, I was like, that's a perfect reef, mate. I don't know what you're on about.
I don't know what. Even, Checo Perez was like, oh man, this guy's good.
Like, when Checo says that man's good about defending and Checo's good at defending. That's big props.
Yeah, no, very big props. I think Colapinto is a breath of fresh air. Love that move. And having Albon, like, you could, bro. Like,
don't get your chain snatched, because if Colapinto takes your chain, what's Sainz going to do to you?
Sainz is going to, bro, I my exact thoughts. I was like, Sainz is going to stomp all over your shit. If that's how you're coming, like...
Sainz has Leclerc's head hot. What's he going to do to you?
Honestly, like, he's going to take him back to the Red Bull days, bruv. Like, you know what I'm saying? Carlos went head-to-head with Max Verstappen. You know what I mean? Like, that's what he was born into, molded by it. You think he's scared of you, Alex? Respectfully. Do you know what I mean? So, my start of the day is... Oh, God, it was going to be Franco. I'm going to say... A good recovery from Oscar, actually. Oh, actually, actually, wait, let me just double check the results because I'm going to go with Nico Hülkenberg. Great qualifying performance, managed to stay in the points. Just a solid driver. You know what you're going to get. That's what needs to be done. I'm happy with it. I'm happy with him. Your donkey of the day.
Donkey of the day. I'm gonna have to say, I think it has to be science. I know nobody said that, but I just think cool. Like everybody's saying, "Oh my god, great recovery, whatever." What was he doing at the start?
Yeah.
Look where your teammate went, and look where you went. You started on the same road. He was on the same road. I just don't think.
He
Obviously,
does
crashed in quali, just weren't there. Now, brother, you was here last year. You was cooking everybody.
Yeah.
You literally cooked everybody.
Yeah.
You
It's
put
like
top in
that.
back positions. You put it on pole, like a tight pole as well. You slapped it on pole. You won the race comfy, big brain drive. Then I don't know what was this race. I don't know what was going on. And the thing is, nobody can tell me that Ferrari literally was the second fastest car this weekend. It was literally second fastest. Them man should have been brilliant.
Yeah, they fumbled it. They really fumbled it this weekend.
They were faster than Max. At the end, when Leclerc was driving, Leclerc was matching Norris's pace. What was you guys doing? You wasted the whole of the weekend for no reason.
Yeah. And you need them to not fumble race weekends, really. Even as the neutral, you just want them to be there, to be honest. Like, do you know what I mean? So I could definitely go with that. My donkey of the day is Mohammed Ben Sulayem. Brother, what is going on with my... I've never seen someone put their foot in their mouth so much as Mohammed Ben Sulayem. Like, I just cannot fathom it. He doesn't need to do what he's doing.
He just reminds me of the uncles from back home, man. I'm just like, bro, why you say that, man?
Bro.
Like, come on, man.
Like, so like, this whole thing about like not wanting drivers to say because he doesn't want them to sound like rappers. Like,
which is just racist, by the way.
Like, can we just like, that is racist as fuck. I've seen people try and say it's not racist. Like, rappers are part of hip hop culture. Hip hop culture is, or hip hop, the industry, the culture is black culture. It was created by black people as part of a culture which included fucking dancing and fucking graffiti and fucking whatever. But rap was a part of that and is a part of that. It's such a dog whistle. It's not even a dog whistle. It's like you might as well just say like, we don't want him to sound like the N-word, bro. Like, I actually cannot believe, and I can't believe it's just brushed over. This is what I'm talking about.
Everybody's like, I told you, F1 media, they're responsible for a lot of things. It's like, you need to just, man, you enemies, F1 media, just sort yourself out. You need to call these people out. You need to hold the FIA to account. The same way some newspapers that will hold, I'll say some, hold the government to account. You need to hold the FIA to account. Why are you allowing the person that leads the FIA to say stuff like this? He's representing your organization. He's calling people who swear rappers. Why did he say, oh, we don't want them swearing like sailors?
Yeah.
We don't want them swearing like hooligans. Why that specific?
And that's the thing. It's like, you know, what is just this inference that a rapper is like automatically like a degenerate or whatever, and like something that, you know, although you're the one inviting rappers to your race because you want their clout, you want their commercial value, so you're happy to take from black culture, but you don't want your drivers to be associated with black culture. I just find that. And to be fair, big up Max for he can have a little star of the day. Big up Max for the protests as well.
It was a funny protest.
I respect that protest.
I didn't know you could do people as well, like other people that are not drivers. Donkey of the day. My donkey of the day, every single time I'm going to come on it, is helmet marker. But
yeah, just because.
Just because he's helmet marker. Don't like it.
He's helmet marker. Fair play. Right, do you want to read out a couple of tweets with me?
Yes, no problem.
I think I might have just sent you a random person's tweet, actually. Hold on. Why did I send you that? 2 seconds. Where is this one? Here we go. Guys, thank you for your tweets. Thank you for always really surprised, especially after a bad day for like Lewis and that. Always surprised by the strength of the tweets. Right. I'm going to read out. Here we go. I'm going to read out. Mawethu William Anderson Soga at Mawethu _ Soga. It says, Star of the day, Lando, brilliant race. Donkey of the day, Oscar's garage. Could have had him chasing down Max if they just pitted when the lap after Max gained on them. And talk about his podium would always have been the 3 drivers on the podium now. How could the rest of the grid have maximized their race? Well, look, the rest of the grid are fucked. But do you think they messed up Oscar's strategy?
Not particularly. Do you know what it is? Yeah, and I want them to be aggressive on strategy. They literally were being greedy. Do you know what they were waiting for? The thing that's happened at every Singapore Grand Prix.
Yeah,
they're waiting for a
safety car. Yeah,
because if he was sitting in P2 and a safety car comes, he's only in the pits for like 10 odd seconds. He comes out P2.
Yeah,
then we got 1. And it would be if he pitted and then there was a safety car. That's just negligence. So they had to.
Yeah, they had to get. They did get a bit greedy, didn't they? They did get a bit greedy. Okay, do you have a tweet?
Yes. I'm going to read this tweet out. So it's from Clay Lee's Keywood. Sorry if I said that wrong, person. Called Fifi. Star of the day, Daniel, for taking fastest lap from Lando. Your sacrifice is very much appreciated. Thank you for that. Donkey of the day, Mercedes in general, and particularly their strategy for Lewis. F them.
F them, wow.
And another shout is Franco deserves a seat next year. I wish Logan had never gotten that seat and they gave it to Franco. They're giving it to Franco.
Amen.
I don't know where Franco's going to go. I'm hearing Bottas is in Sauber now. I think that's done.
I think that's done. This one in a minute. I guess he just, I don't know, if he stays around, maybe next year, but no, I mean, like, we'll see what happens for 26, but 26 seems kind of locked in for a lot of people as well. So it'll be interesting. Right, one more. I am going to go with Scorpio season 44. Who says, Leclerc, good recovery drive, and Lando, I can never give him his 10s, but he drove quite well. Donkey, Mercedes, they should liquidate. What the fuck was the thought behind Lewis's strategy? And talking about that, McLaren is something else. Sheesh, winning by 30 seconds is nuts.
Let that happen every race weekend. I'll be there.
Do you reckon it's happening next week? Next race. Kota?
Yeah, I think so. I think, look, Kota last year, we were on the front row.
Yeah.
And Lando was leading the first half of the race. So what's he going to do in the race?
Yeah, God, how depressing. Do you have one more tweet and then we'll go?
All right. Yeah, we just find one. Okay. We've got Mind, Body and Soul, Ariel 97.1. Star of the day, Ricciardo. Donkey of the day, Mercedes. And the talking points, McLaren are going to need Piastri to secure that P1, P2 every single race from now. Do they have what it takes to beat both Red Bulls and RB? My sense is that they'll bottle it, but time will tell. To be fair, Piastri has to finish in front of Max majority of the time.
Yeah, he's got to sort out.
Now, this weekend, can't run. That what just happened, can't run. You have to be ahead.
And this is what I mean about like Oscar. Like, people also just need to realize he is still developing, and there are going to be those peaks and troughs of performance. So we'll see. Look, thank you so much. It's a late one, so thank you for staying on with me. Much appreciated, brother. Thank you for coming on the show. Cheering.
Thank you for having me.
Where can people find you?
You can find us at McLaren Fan TV on Twitter and find us at Pit Stop Fracker. And we'll be streaming every Tuesday on McLaren Fan TV after the race.
Love that. Thank you so much for coming on. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure to subscribe, rate, all of them things there. Have a wonderful time. We'll see you soon. Remember, no matter what life throws at you, keep it on the black stuff. Goodbye. Look, mate, if you've got this far, clearly you like what we do. So here's a link to subscribe to the Quick Stop F1 family. Give that a click. And here's another link to some more cool on our channel. Sorry, cool stuff. And remember, no matter what happens, keep it on the black stuff. Click the stuff. Click the links. Click the links. Click the links. There. They're there.